Добрый день, Павел. Спасибо за 100 рублей и приятные слова, респект и уважение. Очень приятно. Хорошего просмотра.
This is only my second TF2 video, and I feel like I'm already exploring the deepest trenches, diving down to some of the lowest levels of the iceberg chart, all to bring some true investigative journalism on a...
Что? Пончик, вор в законе. Кирилл, патриарх московский. Случайное совпадение или знак свыше?
journalism
Я не знаю, может реально зачитывать то, что он говорит.
on a collection of some of the most utterly...
Сисян. Имя Алексей, фамилия Навальный. Срок пожизненно. Состав преступления: наебал людей, воровал деньги подписчиков, агент Запада.
of some of the most utterly deranged TF2 servers I have ever seen.
А при чем тут вообще Team Fortress? Это же Гаррис мод. Слышу, демобилизируйся на сервере со 100 игроками. Шариксы в чате.
Ever seen.
Почему вы, ютуберы, в 2025 не ставите плагин на нерук-звуковой перевод? Наверное, потому что мы знаем английский. Не задумывался.
To give a bit of context, a while ago I was scrolling through the TF2 server browser, looking for interesting maps and game modes to play, when a specific server caught my eye. I was utterly shocked.
Ну, я вижу одно слово, которое его шокировало. N против машин.
Who would purchase a server hosted on TF2 and
ну вот, можете прочитать это.
Just title it this? I had to find out more. When you load in, you can see that you're on MVM Wave 666, which is the Halloween special from like 10 years ago or whatever. I don't know, and none of this really matters, because what's important is what makes the server...
Не знаю, что такое МВМ или как там было. Не знаю, что за режим в Team Fortress. Когда я играл в Team Fortress, там были вот эти вот карты обычные и не супер распространенные. По-моему, кстати, серф был уже на тот момент. Это было где-то в 13-12 году.
Unique. You know, like MVM Halloween special servers are nothing special.
Man versus машин. Я же говорю, я играл последний раз в Team Fortress. У меня последний запуск 16-го года. Но я думаю, по ачивкам можно посмотреть. Ачивки. 13-й год. 11-й год. То есть вот активно я играл. Во-во-во, смотрите. Туча ачивок. 11-й год. В 11-м моя аудитория даже не родилась тогда. Аудитория МГЕ. В 11-м я играл, в 13-м я, по всей видимости, каким-то решил вспомнить. Но в основном, да, вот. Какие МВЕ, МНЕ.
So what does this one have in store, other than the deranged title? Well, for starters, they felt the need to have the title of the server permanently put on the bottom of the screen, so that whenever you're trying to kill robots, you just have to read that again and again. Anyway, probably the biggest change this server has is custom skins that are actually just forced on you, and you can't switch them off. What might these be? I bet you can probably take an educated guess. They have one for Scout, Soldier, Heavy...
Не, ну чё у него руки не прогрузились?
Engineer, Medic, Sniper. But what about Spy and Pyro? Well, Spy, I think they tried to sort of unmask him or something by giving him a beard. But the custom model is so bad I can barely tell, honestly. And Pyro actually doesn't fit these characteristics at all. Instead, well, you have...
Не, ну с Pyro можно как бы и не запариваться. А кто знает, какой он там на самом деле под этим костюмчиком?
Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention, but Demo Man is the exact same. That's about all there is to the server.
Удивительно.
Honestly, I feel I can't write a proper way to describe any of this. This is actually just like one of the most crack-brained things I've seen on a game before. But we're just getting started because...
Так.
I found another server run by the same people. Loading in, I'm presented a warm welcome by the community of the server. This server has even more skins for each of the classes. Checking Scout, we can see...
Ну и все это ру-сервера, да, как я понимаю?
Soldier has the MGE skin, which is actually pretty awesome. One of the few points I can give the server. Pyro also has a few unique skins, but be wary that if you decide to switch to him, you will be teleported into this room with copious amounts of furry porn on the walls. Which I'm sure is just great for all of the children that play on the server to see. Even worse are the skins for Pyro. There's Jopa, which is...
Jopa.
This, and then there's Futa, which is the same, except they put an actual penis on the skin this time. Demo Man has no skins because of course he doesn't. Heavy has a skin where he's in a wheelchair. Engineer has probably the best selection of skins. They're both the same, so I'm not...
Почему ты до до сих пор является чем-то смешным. Вот почему?
Same, so I'm not sure why they decided to make two, and then the rest just have the same skins as in the MVM server. Now this map itself seems to have been custom made for the server, since there's various Russian memes and references.
Да, Russian meme and references.
Now, I would love to get some cinematic shots of this map and its various insanities. However, I don't know how to, because these maps seem to be protected in some way. I can't launch it through the console since the title of the map just doesn't show up, and it's not even in my downloaded maps folder in my game directory. So I guess they must have put a lot of effort into making it so these maps can't be downloaded
Завод.
for whatever reason. Honestly, if these guys are capable of making a map auto-delete itself from a user's game files, then they're probably already in the process of ordering hitmen to my house for making this video.
Ну, Russian hackers, you know.
There's an image of this guy that's just put around
Вам снился этот человек?
random parts of the map. I tried to reverse image search, but I couldn't
Так, серьезно?
find any information on who this person might be, like, at all. There's
А вот все, загадка. Нужно, чтобы крипи-ютуберы разобрались с этой интернет-энигмой, так называемой.
this room with a cat that milks you when you go inside. This is actually some Russian social media sticker pack character called
Смотрите, нашел.
Masunya
Масунья?
for the Russian social media VK, which is the most used social media in Russia. The
Конторский, смотрите, рекламирует.
character also has a description. She is an aristocrat cat, likes to chat and eat cakes, pour some tea and sit comfy. You know, I gotta say, I'm actually liking this character quite a bit. There's a ton of cool art of her, and oh look! They even have a plushie available! I even found the
Я себе даже в UK. EASTERCAKE. Не знаю, что такое. EASTERCAKE сайт какой-то. Однако, worldwide. Масюня.
even found the place where the greatest minds reside discussing it. Reddit. Impale Masunya. Crushed Masunya's skull. Flattened Masunya. This is Masunya. Masunya is the nearest thing to how pronounce it. Slavs are subhuman. Next up, there's this room with a framed
Все, его анус взломают.
picture of this bald man. This is actually Iosif Prigzhin,
Пригзайн. Да, finally. Иосиф Пригзайн.
who is a Russian music and TV producer.
Вот и думай, почему он там. Думай, решай, он там забыл. Нет, ну смешно наблюдать за тем, как человек пытается понять, какого хуя. А, ну здесь про санкции написано. В сторону Пригожина.
Who I guess is also known for being very supportive of the Russian army against Ukraine. I also saw this
Что? Я такое вообще впервые слышу.
ad, which translates to Sherry in the city.
Я шарю. Шари.
And the guy there, as you might have guessed, is one Anatoly Sherry, who is a
Он самый, с вас 5 евро.
Ukrainian journalist and huge YouTube sensation. Now, this is one interesting guy. To be clear, I'm reading almost entirely off the Wikipedia article for this guy because I am lazy, but the sources do seem to be mostly accurate. He is pretty famous for, at one point, being a huge gambler, until, according to him, his first wife saved him from this fate. He's also famous for
Не, ну он прям нормально, глубоко копнул.
shooting some guy in a McDonald's with non-lethal rubber bullets after he insulted his wife, though he claims the man attacked her, and most other articles seem to say the same. And he also says the incident was exaggerated by high-rank Ukrainian law enforcement officials to cover up their illegal drug trade, which he was
Просвещается.
investigating. He also apparently had his car shot at after him and a few other journalists
Про шпица Ширяун скажет. А вот не знаю.
reported on an illegal casino in Kiev, leading it to be shut down. But he was not injured, and this later prompted a criminal case to be put forward against him for
Ты что, сейчас в биографию Шария превратится?
staging an assassination attempt. He then got put onto a Ukrainian wanted list, and then pretty much just flip-flopped between a few different European countries for a while, seeking asylum since he said Ukraine was corrupt and trying to silence his journalism. Then his half-sister decided to call him a pedophile and
Реально разобрался в вопросе.
A thief, so he ended up suing her and actually won the case. And that's pretty much the gist of this guy's life. I won't give my opinion on it because it doesn't really matter, but it is pretty funny. Next up, there's this building which has some sort of image of a fish, pig.
Швайн на карась. Ладно, ладно. Человек, который это задонатил, окей, это действительно смешно. Несмотря на то, что оно на английском. Я не знаю, помогает вам, ну, тому, кто не шарит в английском и не может, типа, без субтитров там на слух что-то слушать это. Помогает ли вам вот это вот? Было бы смешнее зайти на серф? Не, это было бы абсолютно не смешно. Ну, Швайна карась в клетке, ну окей. Смешно здесь то, что чувак, какой-то западный блогер, сидит, это все разбирает и рассказывает своей аудитории, давая контекст этому всему. И как он это объясняет. Вот что здесь смешно. Причем, наверное, даже если это перевести какими-то там плагинами, это потеряет свою какую-то изюминку определенную.
Pig combination thing, as well as a heavy positioned in a way to I'm new, bro! A framed picture of Putin because of course. Then they also have this machine that's
своего миньона. Господи. Шарму видео пропадет. Да, я об этом и говорю.
AI generating buff minions with pigs. More of this.
Ну, он как бы пытается, да, дать контекст какой-то и так далее. Интересно, а тут он объяснит, в чем юмор или нет?
There's also this graffiti wall that just has like an insane amount of stuff on it, and some of it is actually pretty cool. Now, that's pretty much where it...
Что? Завод терпения? Что? Унитазы, Масюня, завод терпения, жир, продам гараж, банки хуй.
It is actually pretty cool. Now, that's pretty much where it ends for this map, but it's not over yet.
Я представляю себе это, как главный герой Декратии попал в будущее и пытается понять, что за хуйня тут происходит, а потом возвращается в свое время и пытается объяснить все, что видел людям из прошлого.
So I actually found an additional 10 servers made by these same people. Next up is Alkash Plaza. This map
Алкаш Плаза.
has a house that's just like filled
Так что, ну, Ельцин, да, понятно. Ельцин сурово посмотрел на мужиков и сказал: не так сели. Он хотел сказать, в тюрьме сидело много невиновных, поэтому он отпустил всех, а пустые тюрьмы переделал под ростик с KFC. Спасибо, бро.
house that's just like filled to the brim
Вот он, мужик.
with political ramblings targeting
Ты должен быть такого роста, чтобы войти.
one Boris Yeltsin. And he
Политические бредни, направленные против Бориса Ельцина.
was the Russian president from 1991 until 1999 and also dissolved the Soviet Union. And there's just so much trash here, man. It's just these like nonsensical like political memes and fucking ramblings here everywhere. I'll put some of it on screen.
При правлении Путина у нас есть Оксимирон и Моргин. При правлении Ельцина у нас был Цой, Юра Шатунов. При правлении Путина они умерли. Делайте выводы.
Ramblings here everywhere. I'll put some of it on screen so you can pause and read it if you want to, but I'm not going
Цифра
here
какая-то
everywhere.
интересная
I'll
была.
put some, but I'm not going over all of this. It's just not interesting enough. I'm sorry. There's also this potion store, which is actually a ton of fun to mess around with. It'll make your animations go like 10 times faster, and it also works with all the taunts. So this is actually super fun.
Yeah, you're doing it, Nazi. Постоянно умираешь, не хочешь бить других, хочешь просто чилить. Веди команду. Мир. Развлекаются маленькие.
Onto the brewery. No, that's a different one.
Okay, let's see what we got.
Probably the most normal map out of all of these. Going into this porta-potty
В России.
puts you into a cube with a gif of some Russian movie playing. I don't know what this is. There's a technology.
Так это же, по-моему, не Russian movie,
A
не?
gif
Man.
some Russian movie.
Или это Russian movie? Кто-нибудь шарит? Почему это здесь вообще?
I don't know what this is. There's a technology store that has all the best things. Look at this. They got laptops and they got S. Say sung. The rest of this map is just like whatever, just more generic designs. I don't have anything to say for these. Next up is this huge ass map, City Norilsk. There's a
Норильск.
grocery store filled with yet more imported
Прикольно. Интересно, что же там, наверное, пиво боярень. Так, ну тут русская картошка.
grocery store filled with
3 корочки.
yet more imported models. There's just a huge sign
Азу.
of a minion looking over the city. Each floor of these 2 apartment buildings actually has 4 apartments that you can access, and each one is at least a bit unique. It's pretty cool, honestly, but there isn't a lot of detail in any of them. With the exception of this room, where the
Шо, Эрик Андре?
sign outside says The Eric Andre Show.
А все почему? Что он не...
And inside is just the actual set from the show, so that's pretty cool. Going to
Центр образования номер 1 имени Путина.
the hospital, you see a picture of Putin at the center. Then there's more weird propaganda plastered everywhere.
Russian пропаганда. Совет пропаганда пробралась. Откуда не ждали. России слава, Путину Бог и помощь. Нам терпение, врагам нашим желаем того, что они заслужили.
Everywhere, including this image that is like, from what I can tell,
A random consequence or a sign from above. Джеб. Джеб — это уничижительное обозначение. Это так называемый слёр, racial slur. Тут, кстати, япончик.
image that is like, from what I can tell, a conspiracy theory involving this guy Vladimir,
Conspiracy theory. Ну, кстати, да, все так и есть.
who is a Russian Orthodox bishop, as well as the Patriarch of Moscow, saying that he is apparently a former leader of some mafia that involved a lot of stealing and killing. And then it also says he has the blood of many Ukrainians on his hands, which isn't entirely inaccurate because Switzerland apparently proved this guy was a KGB spy. And since then, he's basically used his position in the church to spread the message that Putin is basically a gift from God, and Russia's invasion of Ukraine is fully justified.
You got another home sitting right next to you that looks like Abe Lincoln. Him.
Another very important thing to mention is there is a T-posing engineer just hidden outside of the map over here. Next up, how about we check out Dacha Pina. I have a good feeling about this one, you know. I feel like this one will be normal. You know, there won't be any propaganda or extreme imagery anywhere, and
А вот, блин. Shut up, you f***ing. Не, ну он надеялся, что здесь не будет никакой пропаганды. Вот, be careful what you wish for. На английском забазарил. Английский, смотрим ролик, да.
moving on, we have this picture of Obama.
Абунга.
Then you go outside and you go into the Minecraft Nether portal, which takes you to some cave. And if you jump up here, you go into the sort of little mansion area, which has probably the highest amount of political memes involving Putin.
Демотиваторы прямиком с 2010-го.
Just like plastered everywhere. It's kind of impressive, honestly, just how many they could fit in here. My personal favorite is this one that says, "Conscience is a Jewish invention."
Совесть — это еврейское
Could
изобретение.
fit in here.
Совесть — выдумка евреев.
Because conscience is a Jewish invention. I don't even know if that's meant to criticize or endorse Putin. Going into here, there's a few more random memes just plastered on the wall. If you go into the
Кстати.
If you go into this fireplace though, you go into this winter wonderland. That actually looks pretty dope. Like look, there's this nice little cabin area here. This honestly like feels pretty cozy. I'm sure there wouldn't just be like some sort of racist imagery that just ruins. Next up is Donbass.
Ой, сейчас, очень хороший стоп-кадр, кстати говоря.
Donbassborn open. In this one,
Еще и open.
you are dropping into some sort of war zone to get a green card for Ukraine, I think? I don't know, I couldn't get a proper translation of this text. This
Что?
in this one, you are dropping into some sort of war zone
Warzone, да.
to get a green card for Ukraine.
Вот, он тут даже контекст пишет. Да, короче, найди грин-карду и вали.
Ukraine, I think? I don't know, I couldn't get a proper translation of this text. This map actually has a pretty cool design though. Both teams jump out of their helicopter airplane thing and land into the main area of the map. There's not much here other than some buildings and miscellaneous objects just put around everywhere. So let's move on.
Слушайте, это реально Team Fortress? Типа все вот это вот Team Fortress?
Go through these gates and you'll be in another mansion type area. There's
Опа, а это он должен знать.
Sam Hyde on the wall. There's this guy who I tried to reverse image search as well, but all I could find was a bunch of dead or unrelated links, and this one Overwatch opening from 5 years
Так, стоп, подожди. Там же тебе написано Дима Куплинов.
of dead or unrelated links, and this one Overwatch opening from 5 years ago. This image on the wall is an
Вакцинация. Медленная эвтаназия. Че, хотел защитить родителей вакциной, но тебе не говорят, что этим сократишь им жизнь. И еще внизу написано: «Свет идет из Руси». Почему-то.
anti-vax meme saying that if you try to protect your parents by encouraging them to get the vaccine, they'll die earlier. This guy was on the previous map.
Ну да, этот гай один из тех, кто просто любил жить. Ресерч качественный, конечно, ну, согласен. Причем там же написано было латиницей, даже не кириллицей.
And I couldn't find out who he was, but reverse image search
Все еще не смог найти. Все еще?
this time actually brought up a crucial
Опа! Крушал.
clue. He appears as an image on this tier list.
Как он до тир-листа дошел? Что это вообще такое? Beer and алкоголь тир-лист. Что делает Джокер, Епифанцев, Джарахов, еще один Епифанцев, Крепкий орешек. Меня из этих, из птиц, Ричбёрдс. Этот Дефо в роли Ван Гога. 5 бутылок водки. Ну возьми одну, ну 2, ну 5.
Maker rank
Тут Гульман есть даже. Господи, Крипер.
everything tier list. Keep going and you'll eventually
Куда он его засунул?
everything tier list. Keep going and you'll eventually arrive
Ночной чат и этот варпач. Что это?
GIF gallery, which has such
Гиф
masterpieces like MG Brother. Continuing forward, there is just an actual image. Only the cock is replaced with the original. So, you know, that's pretty epic overall. Exploring further, we get to see a picture of the New Zealand church mass shooter because yeah, why
Не, ну осуждаем.
not include him?
Ай, какой ужас. Я только сейчас заметил.
As just a picture on the wall. There's also a few prison cells with some images of people behind them. This one is talking about Alexei Navalny,
Навальный, он самый.
and it says he is in this prison for lifetime for scamming people and stealing. Alexei here in the real world was actually pretty famous
Говорит, in the real world.
for his political campaigns.
А это чем тебе не real world? Отражение нашего бытия.
That were intensely critical of Putin and general Russian corruption. He participated in various protests, created documentaries regarding the corruption. He even tried to run for president, but was barred from doing so due to some embezzlement charges, which are a common tactic used by the Russian government to stop any...
Так, ну смотрите, про Шария он уже рассказал. Шарий в городе, настало время Навального.
...and all opposition. Basically, if you're a threat to them, they'll find a way to give you these embezzlement charges. He was then also later poisoned while on a plane, and spent a few days in a coma in a hospital in Berlin, and authorities there confirmed he was poisoned with a Soviet-era nerve agent. He manages to...
Давай, say it out loud.
recover though, and blames the poisoning on Putin.
Почему-то он не сказал новьячок.
Said you think that Mr. Putin's responsible.
I don't think, I'm sure that he's responsible.
Then, like an absolute Chad, this guy decided he was gonna go back to Russia, knowing full well that he would be arrested once he did, but deciding that it was necessary as a form of protest against Russia's regime. And arrested he was, being sentenced to a 19-year prison sentence for extremism. Unfortunately, he would die not long after being sentenced, with the death apparently being from natural causes, though I'm sure you can guess that probably isn't all too accurate. Anyways, moving on from that. Next up...
Почему? Нет, ну ладно, окей, я могу допустить, почему. Потому что Юра сидел в СИЗО.
Is Yuri Kovansky, who is also here for a lifetime, and that is because he sang a stupid song and said that Stas AI is just stupid and on steroids. I don't know.
Stas AI? Почему AI?
Who is also here.
Спел дебильную песню и сказал, что Стас AI. Ай, как просто тупой и сидит на стероидах.
Yuri Kovansky, who is also here for a lifetime, and that is because he sang a stupid song and said that Stas AI is just stupid and on steroids. I don't know what that second bit is.
Прикиньте реально, как мозг у него ломается, когда он все это читает. Не понимает, о чем тут вообще речь идет.
Meant to translate to, but yes, this guy is a pretty popular Russian YouTuber who was jailed for performing a song which made fun of a terrorist event. The terrorist event in question was the Moscow theater hostage crisis, which saw around 900 people be taken hostage by Chechen terrorists who demanded Russia withdraw from the Second Chechen War. Now, these very smart Russian security services got to thinking, how do we stop the terrorists and free the hostages without civilian casualties? That's right, they decided to release sleeping gas into the theater and storm it, which killed all 40 of the hostage takers, but also around 130 of the hostages, including around 25 children, died due to complete government incompetence. So the song this guy made was mocking the event completely. It's hard to find a consistent report on what the song actually said lyric-wise, but it seems it mocked the government response and said more Russians should die at the
Ну, немножко не докопал он до того, что там и как там, ну, допустим.
hands of the Chechen terrorists. Anyway, after spending half a year in detention, the court ultimately decided to release him and later on dropped the case completely. This one's
Мопс. Uncle Dog, дядя пес. Пожизненно, состав преступления. Изнасилование женщины паяльником, снимал видео на YouTube и вел стримы, что одинаково хуёво. То есть я сейчас занимаюсь делами равносильными изнасилованию женщины паяльником. Ужас.
Pug and Uncle Dog, and they were imprisoned here for
Pug, Uncle Dog.
rape of a woman with a soldering iron. Filmed YouTube videos and streamed, which is equally shitty.
Ну, кстати, хорошо перевело вот это вот, чем он пользуется.
You know, I would argue that the difference in those two acts is pretty significant, or maybe
Да, действительно, довольно-таки существенная разница между этими двумя делами.
maybe not actually. I guess the moral standards of those two things are pretty similar. Anyway, these two guys are Sergey Novik and Andrei Shadilo, two Ukrainian YouTubers who were both ex-convicts that became friends in prison and decided to start a YouTube channel together. Sergey here had apparently spent a whole 27 years in prison before getting out. I couldn't find much clear info on what he did exactly, but it seems it was most likely some sort of drug-related crimes and stealing, so it doesn't seem
Знает, зачем он сидел, реально, за изнасилование женщины паяльником.
like he
Не знаю, сколько у него ходок было.
was convicted of rape. They were actually fairly popular for a while, until Sergei died of pneumonia in December 2019, only around 3.5 years after being released from prison. Pretty sad, honestly. The final one is Maxim Marcinkevich.
Его там нет. Максим Марцинкевич, пожизненно. Не сделал ничего плохого в общем-то, но на него написал иск Леха Навальный, поэтому пусть сидит, ёпт, спи, с открытыми глазами.
Is Maxim
Юра
Marcinkevich, and it says he didn't do anything wrong, but Lyoka filed a lawsuit against him, and then some other shit that I don't know what is supposed.
Навальный, so let him sit, fuck, sleep with your eyes open, Юра. Но он немножко не понял. Он написал, что здесь говорится про то, что Алексей Навальный, да, действительно написал на него заяву, и потом здесь же написаны угрозы, адресованные Навальному, но с таким переводом, да, я понимаю.
Now, unlike what the text here says, this guy is probably one of the worst humans to ever exist. He advocated for and committed pretty much every single hate crime possible. He beat up gay people and foreigners.
Вот у него, наверное, немножко это, жизнь его наебывает в эти моменты. Несостыковочка, короче, какая-то происходит в голове, да, то есть Леха там, вот это вот, правдоруб, там, да, у него там, написано, что он гнида и а этот чел написано, что, впрочем, ничего плохого как бы не делал. Шаблон рвется. Типа того, да? Культурный шок. Не сделал ничего плохого, и следующий кадр. Да. О, господи.
I don't know what it's supposed to mean. Now, unlike what the text here says,
то есть здесь еще не то чтобы типа он не сделал ничего плохого. Здесь в контексте того, что он, короче, все делал правильно, вот. И ничего неправильного не делал.
Says, this guy is probably one of the worst humans to ever
Осуждаем.
exist. He advocated for and committed pretty much every single hate crime possible. He beat up gay people and foreigners, set up sting operations where he would then film him beating up the predators. So he was actually ahead of the game on that one. Though
Кстати, они начинают понимать, они начинают узнавать.
one of the main people with the group that he was doing this with had this to say. Murdered multiple migrant workers and was even responsible for a filmed execution beheading video. Thankfully, the subhuman vermin is long gone, but unfortunately many of the people from his group remain free to this day, including a guy who was named as being an accomplice in the execution video, apparently having
даже так.
just moved to Ukraine, so he was never prosecuted at all. And
Он это... Но он немножко не договорил. Он чуть-чуть не договорил. Раз он стал прям говорить, что этот там недочеловек сдох, там, опа-по-по-по. Вот тут он как бы коснулся так одной ножкой, а потом такой...
apparently having just moved...
Не, чё-то как неудобно, что ли. Хуй знает. Может, не надо. Дальше. Хотя, слушайте, нет, здесь так или иначе написано.
Moved to Ukraine, so he was never prosecuted at all. And that's pretty much all there is to say about this map. I could have gone in...
Я, кстати, смотрел этот фильм. Смотрел кто-нибудь «Беспредел»?
Pretty much all there is to say
да.
about this map. I could have gone into more detail about Maxim, but...
Там Симонов еще был.
But it's honestly sickening to read the details about all the things he did, and I'd rather not completely kill the mood of the video. Moving on. Next up, let's take a quick look at these guys' MG server. The map is called I Want MGE, and it has custom MG stages, which is pretty ambitious, but not in a good way because all of these maps are the MG equivalent of YouTube playables. Yeah, these maps are all boring and bad. Moving on to Mohosransk TF2 version 623. Now with this map having 623 different versions, you would probably expect it to be really...
Это вообще что такое было? Горилла, и он такой...
to be really impressive.
И вот это, вставляет. Это что такое вообще? Я не понял.
And well, honestly, I can give huge props to this one. It's probably the only one of their maps that doesn't have political propaganda or mass shooters randomly pictured around the map. It's honestly just this nice little neighborhood, and it even has Rick May statues that seem to be placed in actual honor. And honestly, the inside of the apartment building is really accurate. I never lived in Russia myself, but I did live in Baltic countries, and this map is honestly very accurate with how most of the rundown apartment buildings looked. This type of balcony area in particular, I remember very distinctly from my grandma's house, so seeing it here was a pretty big shock. Also, the same type of accessibility slopes on the stairs, which is also very accurate. This map almost seems like it was made by someone else.
Мне задники нравятся очень.
Someone more sane than the one who created the other maps. This one is legitimately very good. Next up is Nork Nickel Fix. This one is another wintry type map. Now,
Норильский никель?
going into
Их разыскивает полиция.
detail on a lot of the stuff in this map would just make me repeat myself. So,
Разыскивает вооруженный опасен. Короче, во всем он там, во всем подозревается, в чем только можно.
I'll just go over it really quick. Putin on the wall in Spawn, store with only wine, police station with Russian Spider-Man.
Какой нахуй police station? Почему police station?
With Russian Spider-Man. Neko from One Shot, and if you touch him, you go to prison. Hospital has some weird studies.
Осьмушка, целкушка. Пудовичок, боровичок. Русская православная элементарная система единства о периодичности электроатомов Вселенной.
He's on the wall. Apartments. This map has a lot of them, except on this one, only a select few have an interior, each one marked on the outside by a carpet. This one has Eminem.
Это не... Это не просто Eminem. Что?
Eminem, Toho, Cat, Pokemon, a collection
Что еще нужно, да? Эминем, какие-то аниме. Коллекция чего?
of metal albums.
Альбомов в жанре металл.
Izutsumi, and some more
Perhaps.
Pokemon art and band photos. A room filled with furry shit in a seemingly positive way is honestly very surprising to see, considering
Lose yourself. In the moment you want it, let it go.
the contents of the other servers. This next one actually made me laugh. There's a Wojak carpet, and going inside is just a Funko Pop collection.
Ну это такой, да. Мем, который может западный человек понять.
Next is just some Russian room. Then there's a room where there's a gif of
Какое?
Russian room.
Что?
Next is just some Russian room.
Какой рум?
Russian room. Then there's a room where there's a gif of someone playing on the map on the monitor. I don't know what it depicts. Movie room, green screen. Can't really use it because of all the text in the way. Room with Tony Soprano smoking cigar gif. Yeah.
Нас оскорбил, ну все, пи***ем. Выезжаем.
Of the popular cat meme. Room with blood outside it and whoops. Basic room with this guy on the bed covers.
Комната мечты.
And around the room who is actually just Kuplinov play.
Опа, он нашел, он узнал.
A Russian YouTuber who does let's plays of games.
Ну-ка,
Who
сколько?
is actually
17 миллионов.
Так, погоди-ка. Что-то здесь не так.
a Russian YouTuber who does
Кто распиарил, ну?
let's plays of games. He's basically Russian Markiplier. Then there's this boarded off room
Маркоплайер. Ну да, похож, одно лицо с Маркоплайером.
with some sort of conspiracy shit in it that you can't really see what it is. But it took so. Why don't you just go spectator? It's disabled. Next up is an animated parrot room that's actually pretty sweet. Map developer room, Tony Soprano on the Hammer editor. There's also this room, which I'm not really sure what to say about.
Опа! Что тут у нас? Я шарю.
Furry character room. The whole room dedicated to a character named Kuto, made by an artist called Kutoyaki. In all fairness, most of the art in this room is fine, but this is weird. The final room is the most basic yet. Not sure what this was really supposed to have, but that's about it. And finally, we are on to Trade Terpilsk
Terpilsk.
F. This map is another townscape. There's a billboard advertising some sort of event, but you know, we're a little bit late on that. There's also a small store with Fumo, McDonald's with live M&M
Live Eminem
reaction, technology
широкий выбор техники,
store with some
ДГС.
other shit that I don't understand, something about VR, sauna, the furry character, and if you
Фури Керек.
can you go to prison with this image
Ну
on
конечно, это не масюня.
prison with this image on the wall again.
Это все один человек, да, вот эти вот карты делает?
Then there's this house with a
Добро и позитив.
tattooed guy who I couldn't find the name of either.
Как же так?
Also an anti-Semitic
Не жадный банк.
ad that says not a greedy bank.
Семистская реклама.
And in small letters, loan percentage increase by 12% every day. A statue of a guy stepping on a play button, which is apparently dedicated
Дмитрий Легенда Куплинов.
to the Russian YouTuber from earlier. Store with some other bull. Dude, who cares? Then
Курение сделает из вас вот это чудо, там написано.
there's some trapped characters here.
Умница дня Муся давала гладиться, хулиганка дня Рыжик. Крала еду Муси и кусалась.
Here from the show Made in Abyss. It's known for having some rather vile content, to put it lightly. And also, I'm pretty sure both of these drawings are from porn. So now I know that I said this was the final one, but I actually lied. There's one more map to see.
Работать.
And it's called World of Korbal. This is another town map, and probably the least interesting out of all of them. There's not much to say about this one, mostly because everything that
Предлагаю всем фанатам Team Fortress 2 пойти на...
has another map already has as well. It just has sort of the same things, you know, the factory, grocery store, production line, apartments. It's just the same stuff. And with that, I can say that we are done. Now,
Этот гнида в ролик свой это вставил.
say, now,
Не стыдно? Не стыдно? Ну, короче, понятно. Его русские хакеры нашли. Это было смешно. Это было смешно. Да, лучше, чем я мог ожидать.